My comment was young men are failing at a high rate. Yep. Male male virginity is rising. Young men are bailing out of society. We've got an incel crisis. Yes. I completely agree, dude. Like, I completely agree. Like, okay. You guys know when I start talking about sex, it's like I gotta prep because it is like the weeds, and I know what's gonna happen to me eventually. It is gonna happen to me eventually that I'm gonna be faced down by some SJW type, right? Uh, who's attempting to demonize sex. And that's really what it is that we are in a position now where we are demonizing sex, that sex itself is seen as dirty or dingy. There's a very puritanical perspective that's happening in our society regarding sex itself, that if you want to have sex, you've got to connect with like the one true person, your true love, right? You've got to connect in with that and then literally go get married, and then you can like be behind closed doors and like all of that kind of stuff in the society. And then we also have this like digital outlet where there is no fucking rules, right? Like you can literally watch and see and participate in whatever you want on the internet. It's like as free as it can be. And people are seeing more and more that like, oh, humanity is filthy. Like we're filthy. We love it. And even that terminology, right? Filthy. Okay. But like sex is something that's built in. Have you noticed? Have you noticed how sex is sort of built in? How it's part of the whole natural system? That if you don't have sex, we literally die off as a species? Anyway, it's important that the capitalist death cult demonizes sex and attempts to isolate people and have less sex happen. I think that the capitalist death cult doesn't want people to be having sex because if people start to realize that there is some other thing to pursue in life other than money, that they may do that. And that's a bad thing to have happen for the capitalist death cult. That you need to have people absorbed in the idea that the only thing worth pursuing is money. And if you can tie sexual success into the accumulation of money, right, all the better. But if you have people who just are interested in pursuing sex for the sake of pursuing sex, which again, it's built in, it's natural, it's here. We live as a species with a sexual drive and a desire to pursue sex. That if you do that, that needs to be clamped down on, right? And so the natural result, in my view, is this incel situation, right? Where you have because we have denigrated and demonized sex so much, we don't talk about it, we don't teach our kids about it, we don't do anything with that. It's considered dirty. It's like women who walk around wearing skimpy clothing are considered sluts, right? Now, men who are pursuing sexual endeavors are considered rapists, right? Like there's this idea that has permeated and has taken over the society that a man who wants to have sex with a woman is no different than a rapist, right? Like that is a real thing that is happening in the society. And so all sides of the conversation are being demonized to enormous levels, that like a woman who wants to enjoy sex is considered like a subclass human, and a man who wants to enjoy sex is considered a violent rapist. Like, so you end up in this situation where for a man to find a woman who actually wants to have sex in the first place, there's all these walls and barriers, these societal constructs that exist that need to be pushed aside in the first place. And while both parties are attempting to navigate this, there's all of these methods that are in place to ensure that the connection doesn't happen in the first place. So even as the two parties are going, there's all of these, and people find reasons not to pursue sex with one another. And we're in the middle, like, so the incel crisis, in my perspective, is tied into the larger sexual crisis that our society is facing, right? That our society is in the midst of a sexual crisis. That, like, fundamentally our society just needs to get laid, right? That if you took all of these incels and all of these SJW types and you had them have sex with one another, a lot of the tension would go down in the society because everyone's super pent up and everybody's like ratcheting and everything's like at a heightened kind of like kind of level, and there's no fucking outlet for it. And so the outlet, and we've seen it with the incels, because young men are more likely to do this kind of stuff because of the crazed situation with what's going on with testosterone. Well, what are incels doing? They're literally blowing themselves up about it. Like, that's a fucking crisis. That's a fucking crisis, right? It's a massive, massive, massive crisis. On the same level, in my view, as what's going on with the school shooting, which it has similar echoes, right? Like, there are natural systems that we are ignoring. We're literally saying to children, yeah, after you get out of school, you're going to go be homeless and live in a shitty society that doesn't give a fuck about you whatsoever. Like, yeah, I can't imagine why kids are picking up guns and shooting up places. Like, what the so we are amidst a sexual crisis for which the solution is a sexual revolution along the same level as the free love movement. The free love movement throughout the United States, like, people pretend like the free love movement was just like kids having sex and being dirty. Those dirty kids, they don't want to listen to anybody. They're just going to do what they want to do, right? The free love movement was very, very important to feminism. It was an important feminist movement because it was a moment when women said, hey, I have my own personal body autonomy. I don't need my father's permission to marry a man, right? Like, I can go have sex with who I want to go have sex with, right? We have a sexual freedom, that our ability to choose our sexual partners is part of what it is to be a free, independent, individual person living in the world. And it was an important cultural moment, the free love movement, that has essentially been swept away. And we talk about some of the icons of it, like someone like John Lennon. John Lennon was like instrumental to the free love movement. He was deeply embedded in the free love movement, and we just completely forget about this. And since then, there has been such a pullback from that, right? Because that was just a spark up. That was just like a little moment. And now we're in a period of time where the sexual suppression is extreme. And because of the pandemic now, you can't even go to a fucking nightclub, right? You can't even just go to a place that's specifically there. I was saying before the pandemic happened and shut all the clubs down, I was saying that the nightclubs were the last institution that was honest, right? The last honest institution in North America were the nightclubs, because they didn't bullshit anybody about what they're here for. You're here to get drunk, dance, and fuck someone. That's what the nightclubs were for, right? Now they don't exist. So what's left? How do you even fucking meet people? So you're literally just like going on like this blind date stuff, like finding matchmakers, Tinder, all that dumb bullshit, right? And of course, like, people who are somewhat socially isolated, who have no experience, who are not taught about this, and then are demonized for their feelings, right? That if you get horny, like, take a look at what's happening online, right? There's the horny bat. You've seen this, right? Horny bat? Horny bat meme. So this guy, right? So they take the Doge, right? They take the Doge guy, and if something like horny happens online or something sexual, you end up with this dog in your stuff, right? This is the horny bat. And it looks really like, oh, it's just so cute, and oh, it's so harmless and all that kind of stuff. But the underlying messaging of it is, this is something you're attracted to. It makes you feel sexual. It makes you feel sexual feelings, and that is bad, right? That is bad that you are having feelings of sexuality towards sexual people. And if you go on to, and it's so fucking stupid, because if you go on to like go on to TikTok for 30 seconds, go on to fucking TikTok for 30 seconds and start doing this, right? Oh, wow, there's a bunch of fucking people on TikTok shaking their booty, showing off their titties, right? Big muscle-bound guys, like, flexing and doing all kinds of stuff. What do you fucking think they're doing? Like, what do you think they're fucking doing? So people want to engage in sexual activity. People want to be sexual. People want to be horny. People want this. And how do I know we want it? Because everybody is born with a sex drive that they want to pursue and they want to engage in. Everyone wants to have sex. Everyone loves sex. We love seeing sex. We love having sex around us. We love the whole thing. We love the whole thing. The trouble is, we've literally disconnected ourselves from having meaningful conversations or teaching people about what sex is, how is it going, how do you deal with it, right? How do you deal with it? We don't talk about it, we don't teach it, we don't do anything. That literally for an entire generation we have been telling people, just abstain. What the fuck are you talking about? Just abstain? Are you kidding me? Like, walk up to somebody who really needs to pee and tell them, just don't. Just abstain. Just abstain from peeing. And you see how ludicrous I think this conversation is. Like, it's asinine that we are saying to people who have a built-in genetic demand to pursue sexual interests, just don't. Just abstain. Yeah, that's legitimate and logical. When what we should be doing, and what any rational, free-thinking, empathetic society would demand that we do, is we would inform people about what the fuck is going on. We would talk to them about how to be safe about it, how to embark on this journey in reasonable ways. And honestly, here's the controversial one that all the SJWs are going to get down my throat about. We should teach people how to fucking enjoy it. We should teach people how to enjoy it. They should be enjoying sex. We should demystify this. It's an absolute abomination that men are walking around not knowing where the clit is. What? What are you even telling me right now? You're telling me that we are allowing adults to come into our society. We are allowing young men to be released from a system of education that we spend billions of dollars in order to teach them basic life skills, and they're walking out of that establishment not even knowing where the clitoris is? Fuck you. Fuck you. That is a failure. Like, that is a burn the building down, total failure across the board. Basic shit should be known about how to please a woman. How a woman should please a man. Basic shit like this. And nobody at any point should stand up and say, that sounds dirty and filthy and all that. Like, that kind of attitude got the Puritans thrown the fuck out of Europe, right? Because it's corrosive. It's destructive, and you're seeing what's happening now because of it. We've got these fucking young men literally blowing themselves up, right? Because they can't fucking get laid. We're a very stupid people. Like, it's very stupid what we're doing. Like, it's very, very stupid. Like, and stupid to the same level as, like, literally telling people, just don't pee. Same exact thing. Like, anytime I hear this abstinence bullshit, anytime I hear people talking about, like, oh, it's dirty and disgusting and dingy and all this stuff, like, literally, like, I think of these people the same way as if they were talking about, like, basic bodily functions. Like, go pee. And it just ties into the larger thing that I always talk about. We're children. We're so childish. We just refuse to grow up. We refuse to be adults about this. We refuse to look at at ourselves and our neighbors and our society and admit that there are realities that exist within the system that we do not control and we should accept. And one of the major ones is sex is real. People want to have it. It is built in to who we are and what we want to pursue. Telling people not to do it is stupid and childish and dumb. Telling people how to do it safely and while simultaneously maximizing their enjoyment is probably smarter, right? That the system itself wants us to do it, so we should probably know how to do it well.